So we're reading chapter 4 from 14 Lessons in Yogi Philosophy and Oriental Occultism, the human aura. The aura of the third principle, or prana, is difficult to describe except to those who have seen the X-ray. It looks something like a vapory cloud of the color and appearance of an electric spark. In fact, all manifestations of prana resemble electric light or sparks. Prana has a faint rosy tint when it is in or near the body, but loses this hue as it gets a few inches away. Persons of psychic sight see plainly the spark-like particles of prana being shaken from the fingertips of persons giving so-called magnetic treatments or making mesmeric passes. It may also be seen by many persons who make no claims of psychic sight, to whom it appears like heated air arising from a stove or from the heated ground. That is to say, as a colorless something pulsating and vibrating. This pranic aura is sometimes drawn away from a healthy, strong person by a weak person who is lacking in vitality and who draws away from the strong one that which is needed by the weak one. In cases of this kind, the person drawn upon without his consent will experience a feeling of languor and lassitude after being in the company of a person who has absorbed a share of his vitality. In Science of the Breath, under the head forming an aura, we have given a method whereby one may render himself immune to this form of vaporism, conscious or unconscious. This method, while given in the book for another purpose, is equally efficacious in this instance. A stronger effect may be produced by forming a mental image of an auric shell through which no one can escape or no outside influence enter without one's own consent. One may, in this way, also guard himself against infection from sources which might seriously affect him unless so protected. The pranic aura is also poured out in mesmeric passes or psychic treatments of the sick. But in such cases, the trained operator regulates the flow and takes the trouble to replenish the supply of prana within his system, which will generate and emanate a constant flow of pranic aura. We need not dwell upon these points as they are fully described in Science of Breath, which book will be read with a new light by the student who reads and thinks over what we have said about this feature of the human aura. The little book in question was written for the general public who, while they receive much benefit from it, cannot read from it the meaning which becomes perfectly clear to the student as he passes from stage to stage of these lessons. The little book, simple and unpretentious as it is, has many things hidden away in it which may only be read by the one who is able to understand. The student is advised to reread the little book from time to time and notice how many things he finds in it which he has never before discovered. We now approach the most interesting features concerning the human aura, and we think that some of the facts to be stated in this lesson will be a revelation even to many who are perfectly familiar with the three manifestations of the aura which we have just mentioned. Some may doubt many of the statements which will be made, but we beg to say to such people that they have the means at their disposal to develop and unfold psychic powers of a sufficient degree to see these things for themselves as thousands of others before them have done. Nothing of the occult teachings need remain hidden to anyone who doubts. Everyone may enter the occult world for himself, providing he pays the price of attainment, which price is not of gold or silver, but of the renunciation of the lower self and the devotion to that which is highest in man. Some, it is true, break into the psychic world without having fitted and purified themselves by the proper methods. But to such, the acquired faculties are a curse rather than a blessing, and such are compelled to retrace their steps with much suffering until they enter in by the right door, the key of which is readily found by all who seek it for the proper spirit, for it in the proper spirit. To return to the higher manifestations of the human aura, we again call your attention to the fact that the aura is seen by the psychic observer as a luminous cloud, nearly oval in shape, extending from 2 feet to 3 feet in all directions from the body. It does not terminate abruptly, but gradually fades into faintness until it disappears entirely. It really extends quite a distance beyond its visible point. It presents the appearance of a luminous cloud of constantly shifting colors, certain colors, however, being predominant in each person, from reasons which we will consider in a few moments. These colors originate from certain mental states of the person whom the aura surrounds. Each thought, emotion, or feeling is manifested by a certain shade or combination of colors belonging to that particular thought, emotion, or feeling, which color or colors manifest themselves in the aura of that particular mental principle in which the thought, emotion, or feeling naturally originates, and are, of course, visible to the observer studying the composite or of the thinker. The developed psychic may read the thoughts of a person as he can the pages of an open book, providing he understands the language of that auric colors, which, of course, all developed occultists do. Although the person who stumbles accidentally into the psychic world on rare occasions will see nothing but the reflection of wonderful colors appearing in a luminous cloud, the meaning of which is not known to him. We think it better, before proceeding further, to give you a general idea of these auric colors and the thought, feeling, or emotion to which each belongs. These colors shade and blend into thousands of combinations, but the following table will perhaps give you a fair idea of the subject and will enable you more readily to understand what we will say a little later on in this lesson. Auric colors and their meanings. Black represents hatred, malice, revenge, and similar feelings. Gray of a bright shade represents selfishness. Gray of a peculiar, oh my goodness, my mouth's not going to say this word, peculiar shade, almost that of a corpse, represents fear and terror. Gray of a dark shade represents depression and melancholy. Green of a dirty shade represents jealousy. If much anger is mingled with jealousy, it will appear as red flashes on the green background. Green of almost a slate color shade represents low deceit. Green of a particular bright shade represents tolerance to the opinions and beliefs of others, easy adjustment to changing conditions, adaptability, tact, politeness, worldly wisdom, etc., and qualities which some might possibly consider refined deceit. Red of a shade resembling the dull flame when it bursts out of a burning building mingled with the smoke represents sensuality and the animal passions. Red, seen in the shape of bright red flashes, resembling the lightning flash in shape, indicates anger. These are usually shown on a black background in the case of anger arising from hatred or malice, but in cases of anger arising from jealousy, they appear on a greenish background. Anger arising from indignation or a defense of a supposed right lacks these backgrounds and usually shows as red flashes independent of a background. Crimson represents love, varying in shade according to the character of passion. A gross sensual love will be a dull and heavy crimson, while one mixed with higher feelings will appear in lighter and more pleasing shades. A very high form of love shows a color almost approaching a beautiful rose color. Brown of a reddish tinge represents avarice, I don't know that word, avarice and greed. Orange of a bright shade represents pride and ambition. Yellow in its various shades represents intellectual power. In the intellect, if the intellect contents itself with things of a low order, the shade is a dark, dull yellow. And as the field of intellect rises to higher levels, the color grows brighter and clearer, a beautiful golden yellow betokening great intellectual attainment, broad and brilliant reasoning, etc. Blue of a dark shade represents religious thought, emotion, and feeling. This color, however, varies in clearness according to the degree of unselfish manifest in the religious conception. The shades and degrees of clearness vary from a dull indigo to a beautiful rich violet, the latter representing the highest religious feeling. Light blue of a particular clear and luminous shade represents spirituality. Some of the higher degrees of spirituality observed in ordinary mankind show themselves in this shade of blue filled with luminous bright points, sparkling and twinkling like stars on a clear winter night. The student will remember that these colors form endless combinations and blendings and show themselves in greatly varying degrees of brightness and size, all of which have meanings to the developed occultist. In addition to the colors mentioned above, there are several others for which we have no names, as they are outside of the colors visible in the spectrum, and consequently science, not being able to perceive them, has not thought it necessary to bestow definite names upon them, although theoretically they are known to exist. Science tells us that there exists what are known as ultraviolet rays and ultra-red rays, neither of which can be followed by the human eyes, even with the aid of mechanical appliances, the vibrations being beyond our senses. These two ultra colors and several others unknown to science are known to occultists and may be seen by the person of a certain degree of psychic power. The significance of this statement may be more fully grasped when we state that when seen in human aura, either of these ultra colors indicates psychic development, the degree of intensity upon the degree of development. Another remarkable fact to those who have not thought of the matter is that the ultraviolet color in the aura indicates psychic development when used on a high and unselfish plane, while the ultra-red color, when seen in the human aura, indicates that the person has psychic development, but is using the same for selfish and unworthy purposes, black magic, in fact. The ultraviolet rays lie just outside of an extreme of the visible spectrum known to science, while the ultra-red rays lie just beyond the other extreme. The vibrations of the first are too high for the ordinary eye, human eye, the sense, while the second consists of vibrations as much too low as the first is too high. And the real difference between the two forms of psychic power is as great as is indicated by the respective positions of these two ultra colors. In addition to the two ultra colors just alluded to, there is another which is invisible to the ordinary sight, the true primary yellow, which is indicative of the spiritual illumination and which is faintly seen around the heads of the spiritually great. The color, which we are taught is characteristic of the seventh principle spirit, is said to be a pure white light of a peculiar brilliancy, the like of which has never been seen by human eyes. In fact, the very existence of absolute white light is denied by Western science. The aura emanating from the instinctive mind consists principally of the heavier and duller shades. In sleep, When the mind is quiet, there appears chiefly a certain dull red, which indicates that the instinctive mind is merely performing the animal functions of the body. This shade, of course, is always apparent, but during the waking hours is often obscured by the brighter shades of the passing thoughts, emotions, or feelings. Right here, it would be well to state that even when the mind is calm, there hover in the aura the shades indicative of the predominant tendencies of the man, so that his stage of advancement and development, as well as his tastes and other features of his personality, may be easily distinguished. When the mind is swept by a strong passion, feeling, or emotion, the entire aura seems to be colored by the particular shade or shades representing it. For instance, a violent fit of anger causes the whole aura to show bright red flashes upon a black background, almost eclipsing the other colors. This state lasts for a longer or shorter time according to the strength of the passion. If people could but have a glimpse of the human aura when so colored, they would become so horrified at the dreadful sight that they would never again permit themselves to fly into a rage. It resembles the flames and smoke of the pit, which is referred to in certain Orthodox churches. And in fact, the human mind in such a condition becomes a veritable hell temporarily. A strong wave of love sweeping over the mind will cause the entire aura to show crimson, the shade depending upon the character of the passion. Likewise, a burst of religious feeling will bestow upon the entire aura a blue tinge, as explained in the table of colors. In short, a strong emotion, feeling, or passion causes the entire aura to take on its color while the feeling lasts. You will see from what we have said that there are two aspects to the color feature of the aura. The first, depending on the predominant thoughts habitually manifesting in the mind of the person. The second, depending upon the particular feeling, emotion, or passion, if any, being manifested at the particular time. The passing colors disappears when the feeling dies away, although a feeling, passion, or emotion repeatedly manifested shows itself in time upon the habitual auric color. The habitual color shown in the aura, of course, changes gradually from time to time as the character of the person improves or changes. The habitual colors shown indicate the general character of the person. The passing colors show what feeling, emotion, or passion, if any, is dominating him at that particular time. The student who has read the preceding lessons will realize readily that the man develops and unfolds, as the man develops and unfolds, he becomes less and less the prey of passing passions, emotions, or feelings emanating from the instinctive mind, and that intellect and then spiritual minds manifest themselves instead of lying dormant in a latent condition. Remembering this, he will readily see how great a difference there must be between the aura of an undeveloped man and that of the developed man. The one is a mass of dull, heavy, gross colors, the entire mass being frequently flooded by the color of some passing emotion, feeling, or passion. The other shows the higher colors and is very much clearer, being but little disturbed by feelings, emotion, and passions, all of which have been brought largely under the control of the will. Let me see if we're going to pause here. Yeah, I think we can pause here.
They really went into a deep dive on the auras.
I think it's more like just giving us a quick outline.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because everything else, they're like, we can't really explain this too well, but we trust you'll understand.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I think I said this yesterday. This is my second time reading these lessons. So the first time this chapter, I like really like it was my first experience with it too. And I was like, well, this is way over my head. But and I just like skimmed it. Like I did not memorize the colors.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting about the colors is that when we interact with people and even ourselves, and people are like, like people are like, how are you doing? And you're like, I'm fine. And you just go on, like, I'm okay, I'm fine. But if we could see each other's colors, we would know
Yeah.
how many
That
times
would
we're
be
just
cool.
lying,
Have you ever got your aura read?
No.
Me
Did you?
neither. No.
I didn't even know. I was just reading this though, and I was like, my aura probably looks like a finger painting done by like a 2-year-old, where it's just like colors everywhere and then just like brown blob because all the colors are just like mixed together. But I didn't know you can get your aura read, and I was reading this thinking like, oh, like towards the end of our life we should all get like a printout of what our life looked like in color.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see it. It'd be cool to get. And I have a friend who got hers read when she was on vacation somewhere. But who knows if it's really true, if the person is really reading it or making it up.
I know, but yeah. So what did your friend like? What did your friend? I'm trying to learn how to ask questions without me putting the answer into it, and it's so hard for me to do this. What did your friend think of the experience?
Um, she's very like she's a very like lighthearted person and doesn't really take anything too seriously. So I think she thought it was kind of like a fun experience. And her husband had like some black in him.
Yeah.
And and the person was kind of like freaking out about that. So she thought that was kind of funny. But she just took it as like, oh, it was a fun experience.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's how I would do it. I would take away.
Yeah. But I thought it was interesting the beginning part where they talked about like, oh, like your energy or your colors will change if somebody is absorbing them from you.
Yeah.
Which you definitely know those people who like drain the heck out of you.
Oh, for sure. Like there's people that I literally I have to stop going to things recently because like before COVID, because I they would suck the energy out of me no matter what boundaries I put up, or no matter how much work I did on my side. I couldn't help it. And it wouldn't even just be one. There was like 2 of them, and I'm like, I can't. I would be going there so energetic, and then I'd come out get drained.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it works the other way too. Like we have to be mindful of the energy we're putting out there. I'm specifically aware of this when I teach yoga. Like I could be feeling a little like tired or low energy, and I'm like, I got to do something because I can't bring this energy into the class.
Yep. Oh yeah.
It just takes a second to just shift and be like, put on your happy face. You don't have to put your happy face on, but like you just got to be mindful of the energy you're spreading around, because some people don't have their boundaries set up and they just absorb everything that's put out there. Like I feel like this is like that. I don't consider myself an empath, but I feel like this is like the empaths of the world, and they don't know how to like let the energy. Some of them don't know how to like let the energy. You got to have somewhere to dump that energy, and they just absorb other people's energy all day long and like try to process it for them. It's not healthy.
I do that.
That's me.
I feel like that's so many people, especially every time I run into, they're like, oh, I'm an empath, and they're just like sitting with everyone else's energy in their stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working a long time trying to figure out how to do not a long time, maybe like a couple of years. I've been trying to figure out how not to absorb it.
Or just have somewhere to dump it. You got to have you got to fill up the bucket, but have somewhere to let it flow through you.
Yeah. I think exercise does that for me. It lets me kind of like dump stuff.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it's like the idea, it's like, balloon, I hate balloons, but they just came to mind. It's like, could you imagine if we had to like hold a balloon with us every day and be like, oh, I guess we can do this with like our jewelry, or what, I guess we express ourselves too through the clothing we wear. Like I'm always wearing black. I'm trying to like incorporate color because it's like such a boost for me, or like putting on a cute pair of earrings. Even during COVID world, I'm like, I miss wearing earrings. It's the one thing I miss putting on. So I started wearing earrings again. Like how we could express our energy for the day, or just
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel the same way about black. I guess New York City is just like a black wearing place because during COVID I was like, why is my whole wardrobe black?
yeah, like my work dresses aren't so much black, but like, I felt like all my workout clothes were black, had some color. I did highlight the sentence that said, nothing of the occult teachings need remain hidden to anyone who doubts. Everyone may enter the occult world for himself, providing he pays the price of attainment, which price is not of gold or silver, but of the renunciation of the lower self and the devotion to that which is the highest in man. I love that it's like none of this stuff is secret, and like your friend went to somebody that does this, and you see them all over the place. You'll, especially like, because I'm from out in Suffolk, and I just was out there, and there's like every other house is like psychic, and you're like, who are the ones you can really trust? But some people, or the people that can like go beyond the life, like that call on dead people.
Yeah.
Or the hypnotists of the world. So like, yeah, it's like there are people that take advantage of this, like they talk about just now, like the black magic people. And then there are people that like legit can do this. It's kind of scary. I don't know if Amanda can see aura.
I think she can.
But I'm like, I always feel like I'm being judged by her because she's Ayurvedic, not in a bad way, but like she can see past so much of us. Just like when she sees people, she doesn't see people like the way I see people. Like I see people's like skin and hair and what they're wearing. She like sees their soul. And because she's an Ayurvedic practitioner, she can just by body type know their constitution and like can expect things. It's crazy what she can do. But she could take advantage of it, or she can like do what she does, which is boost people up because of it. She doesn't like try to take advantage of it. And we all can learn how to do this. I mean, she teaches us in teacher training how to see people's constitutions just by.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
All right, I got to jump off for a meeting, but thank you, Pam.
You're welcome. I'll start breath, and Lauren, it's up to you what you're feeling up to, but I'll lead us through breath and the meditation. I'm going to turn my video off though while we meditate today.
That would be perfect if you don't mind. If it
No. I do it anyway for the recording.
Have a good day, ladies.
Bye, Domenica.
Bye.
All right, so I'll set up nice and tall. I'll take a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. I'm just filling up the low belly as you inhale, letting the body completely exhale. Bring your right hand over to the nose, close the right nostril with the thumb, inhale through the left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Inhale left. Close left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close right. Exhale left. You can continue on or release the palm. I'm going to set the timer and you'll join us when you're ready for your meditation practice for today. Bringing hands to heart. Namaste.